Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to learn another new topic in Python, which is booleans and conditionals. So let's get started. So what are conditionals? Conditionals or conditional statement let our let us control the flow of our program based on certain conditions. And these conditional statements are the building block of our program. Using conditional statements we can compare two values, like we can check either one value is equal to another, or they are not equal to each other. One is greater than other, one is less than another, one is greater than or equal to another, and like that. These are operators and these are their descriptions. And conditional statements evaluate to a boolean value which is either true or false. So in Python we can write the conditional statement using the keyword if, and we can write our condition with a space in between and a colon, and uh, with a tab on the line underneath that condition. We can write a code to be executed. So code block that is written under that if statement will only execute when that condition evaluates to be true. So the body of the if condition constitutes to be a code block, and indentations helps us identify a code block in Python. Pass is a keyword that that is a placeholder. It does nothing, and we can change it later because and it is useful because empty code blocks are not allowed in Python. So there is our first statement. So we have an a age variable that is age, and boss no so we have another variable that is age, and it has a value of 18. So we are using if conditional statement to check whether the age variable is greater than or equal to 18. If age has a value that is equal to or greater than 18, the if code block will be executed. So age has a value assigned 18, so this print statement will be executed. So indentation is a must to include in our Python code blocks. So these type of code blocks can also be used in loops and functions. And so we have changed the age value of age variable, but the conditional statement remains the same. Now age has a value that is less than 18, and age is not greater than or equal to 18, so this print statement will not be executed. So we can execute another code block when if statement is not executed. So that is the same example again. So it is 12. This statement will not be executed, and in this scenario else code block will be executed, and this print statement will show up on our terminal. So if you want to check for multiple conditionals, like condition number 1, condition number 2, condition number 3. So we will use if keyword with the first condition in the series of conditionals, and all the other condition uh, statements will have the keyword elif preceding them, and the last conditional block will be else. And yes, else statement will execute if all the conditionals are false. Only in if elif or else statement, only one conditional will execute. And also we can use as many elif statements as we want. So now let's practice some conditionals here. So we have let's make a variable marks equals to 33, and let's check if these marks are greater than or equal to 33. Let's make another variable passing marks 33, then execute, then print you are passed, else print you are. Now let's execute it. So marks, what we are doing in the if conditional statement is that we are comparing the value of marks variable to the value of passing marks. So marks, so we are checking whether the value of marks is greater than or equal to passing marks, and yes, it is equal to passing marks, then the code block of if statement is executed and the code block of else statement is neglected. What if marks are less than passing marks? So yes, this else code block will be executed. We can also make our program, we can also make a program to check whether one number is positive, negative, or a zero, or also even an odd. So let's make a number variable which will store a random number. Then we are going to check if, and we are going to put our conditional statement here. If number is greater than 0, then print number is positive, else print number is negative. So yes, what this statement does, the first if statement checks whether the number variable stores a positive value by comparing that number to whether that number is greater than 0. So that means numbers greater than 0 are positive, and in the elif block the condition is num double equals to 0, which checks whether the num variable has a value equal to 0 or not. So uh, if num variable is greater than 0, then the first block will be executed. Right now this block is being executed because num is 23, and if that num variable has a 0, then this elif code block will be executed. Yes, number is equal to 0, and so last condition is that num will be less than 0. So we can just write else for that, and if number is negative, then the last conditional, which is else code block, will be executed. Yes, number is negative. So yes, we also made a simple program to check the number for positivity or negativity. So what some MCQs here. What do comparison operators do? Compare two value and return a boolean value. What will be the result of the following code? So age is 12. If age is greater than or equal to 18, this code block will not be executed because age is not greater than or equal to 18. Age is also not greater than or equal to 13, then this else block will be executed. You are a child. So if 3 is greater than or equal to 2, this will evaluate to false. So we have another topic, that is truthy and falsy values, and what are Boolean operators, and how short circuiting works. So we can check one condition, and then with if it evaluates to be true, we can check another condition in that condition that is evaluated previously. Like we are checking if each citizen is true, then its code block will be executed. If not, then it will move to else part. So if each citizen is true, then another conditional, that is its code block, will be executed, which checks whether the age variable has a value that is greater than or equal to 18 or not. If yes, then it will execute its code block. Otherwise it will just exit this code block and also skip this else part. Why it will skip this else part? Because in conditionals only one condition runs at a time. No matter if it's if else condition or if it's if elif, multiple elifs and else condition, only one condition will be executed at a time. So there is another thing, that in Python every single value can be evaluated to be either boolean value true or false in a logical sense. So like integer, default integer value 0 and float value 0.0 and empty string will be evaluated as falsy values or false in boolean, and any other thing that exists, like some characters in the string, any integer or float other than 0, and things other than none and false will be evaluated as true in the boolean or logical sense. So we have a built-in function which is bool that converts a value or a data type to its boolean equivalent. So if we have a variable, even not a variable, we can check any value, and this boolean function will return the boolean equivalent of the argument of its argument. So we will print that returned value using the print function. So empty string, we are giving it empty string, a false value, 0 and 0.0, and also none. So for all of these, I have already told you their boolean equivalent will be false. So yes, if we write any other thing other than these strings, so we can write a single a here in that string, and for boolean value true, and none represents the absence of value. So there is nothing contradictory to that. It just shows that there is no value. So that is why it was showing its boolean equivalent as false. So for all of these values, the boolean equivalent will be true. Yes. So we have seen here that we sometimes, or probably most of the times, have to check multiple conditions at once. So for that reason we have boolean or logical operators in Python, which are and, or, and not. So let's make it. So let's make a program that checks whether a student is passed in his exam or not. And also gives him a grade based on his percentage. So let's make a variable marks here, random marks out of 100. So let's make an if condition. If marks are greater than or equal to 0 and marks less than or equal to 100. So what we are doing here, I have created a variable and assign it a value, and in the first if block I am checking two conditions at once. uh, I am checking that whether uh, that marks variable has a value equal to or greater than 0, or and a value less than or equal to 0. So I have created a range for that for the value of marks variable to be able to make the execution of first if block possible. So for the execution of first ifs block, uh, it is mandatory for the marks variable to be between 0 and 100, both the uh, ending and starting points included, because equal signs are used in the both conditions. So what does AND operators does? And also I forgot to tell you something, that every equation can every condition can also be evaluated to be true. So if marks are greater than or equal to 0, this will translate into its Boolean equivalent to be true. And if we ignore that AND operator for this moment, we can focus on the next condition, that is marks less than or equal to 100. So it is also true for the marks variable. So on both sides of AND operator, true Boolean values are present. So AND operator only works when all of its operands are true. So if any of its operand is false, it will not work. So it will work here. It will again go in and check whether the marks are greater than or equal to 33, and if yes, it will print parse. We can also include an else block here, which will print failed. So if marks are in negative, this condition will not be executed because it is out of range of the condition, and hence else block will be executed. Yes, invalid value. And if marks are in the range, so first block will be executed perfectly, but the another if else block in that if block will be executed one by one. So the if block says that checks for whether the marks variable has a value greater than or equal to 33. For now it's true, so it's not true for marks variable. Then the else core block will be executed, so it will print failed. Yes. And we have same operators just like OR and NOT. So what does OR operator does? If any of its operand is true, the whole condition will evaluate to be true, and the code block will be executed. And what does NOT operator does? And what does not operator do? It just takes the value and inverts it and inverts its boolean equivalent. For example, if the boolean equivalent of the expression is true, not operator will turn it into false, and vice versa. Yes, so 0 has a false value, but not operator will turn that false into a true. So we will practice or and not in the later session, so I'm not going to do that today. So first question here is what this code snippet will give us as an output. So we have two variables. First condition block of if checks whether age is greater than or equal to 18 and has ticket. So age is greater than 18 and it will be evaluated as true, and has ticket is also true. So both of the operand of AND operator is true, hence the whole expression will be expressed as true, so the code block will be executed and you can watch the movies will be printed. Which of the following is not considered? So if you look closely, the false is written in double quote, so it's a string, not a boolean value. What happens when Python evaluates expression? So we have another thing, we have to check it. I just have a little confusion here. Or operator will return the first operand if it is true, otherwise it returns the second operand. But this is only for expressions in which two values are compared, not two conditional statements are compared. So it returns x if it evaluates to be true. So yes, this is it. So yes, we have completed our booleans and conditionals topic. Tomorrow we will. So there are two projects here. So after that we will move to functions and scopes, and that will be very interesting for us. So till then, Allah Hafiz.